Chapter 11 Consensus Group Methods, Delphi and Nominal Group Technique. Medha Joshi Moral Reject. Abstract. Medical educators strive to use the latest findings from scientifically grounded research when making decisions regarding the health profession's education. Empirical evidence from educational research, however, is often limited or contradictory. When faced with conditions of uncertainty or incomplete evidence, consensus group methods are widely used to synthesize expert opinions and enhance decision making. Two such methods with Delphi and nominal group technique, which are commonly used for this purpose, are described in this chapter. These can be used in medical education research to determine components of a new or revised curriculum, develop items for assessment tools, define competencies, and develop educational resources. The readers will be familiarized with nuances of the process to conduct them and to maintain the quality as well as their advantages and limitations. The variants of these methods are also highlighted. Key words: consensus group methods, Delphi, nominal group technique, decision making, land appropriateness method, hybrid Delphi, NGT method, E-Delphi, policy Delphi. Assess need. In our personal as well as professional life, we come across occasions wherein we have to make selection of few from the available items. May they be resources, criteria, policy guidelines, or existing possibilities for the benefits of others associated directly or indirectly with these items. Moreover, this selection needs approval from the group. We cannot make quick decisions based on what majority in the group wish, but have to ensure that the decision is appropriate. This decision making becomes more crucial when the evidence supporting selection are not too strong or the group has varied and at times contradictory opinions. For this, we need to discuss, take into consideration each other's opinion, critically look at all the pros and cons so that a consensus is reached among the group for the selection. Processes to develop and measure consensus systematically are termed as consensus group methods. As stated earlier, these methods are mainly useful when empirical evidence is insufficient or lacking or contradictory. In such situations, it is expected that an accurate and reliable information can be best obtained by consulting a panel of experts and accepting their consensus. Consensus group methods are particularly applicable in medical education research as these methods can get inputs from the profession's collective knowledge and experience. In this chapter, we provide an overview of the two commonly used consensus group methods, which are well structured with the Delphi method and the nominal group technique. Brief: Delphi and NGT are a systematic means to measure and develop consensus on a topic, suitable when empirical evidence is insufficient, inconsistent, or not present. The Delphi method involves a number of rounds. Participants never meet or interact directly. Advantage of Delphi is that it is possible to include a large number of experts spread around the world, the major limitation being it takes long time. NGT is a face-to-face interactive method and the number of participants are limited. It involves minimal discussion among the participants. Advantage of NGT is possibility of clarification and debate, but the consensus is obtained from only a small number of participants, which is a limitation. A hybrid of these two methods may be the solution to add benefits of both, yet minimize the limitations. CO and 3XTUARIZE. Please go through scenario 1 carefully. While reading the rest of the chapter, ask yourself why Delphi method has been chosen over the NGT by the chairman of the committee. Scenario 1. The healthcare system in India is challenged with the shortage of skilled and competent workforce. Medical education, which earlier focused largely on acquisition of knowledge, was expected to produce competent and skilled medical practitioners. To meet the expectations of the stakeholders, the medical education has adopted competency-based medical education. This paradigm shift in medical education has forced other healthcare education systems to relook at their curricula. Physiotherapy is one such highly skill-oriented healthcare system that is looking to bring about a change in their curriculum to introduce the competency-based education paradigm. Many developed countries already are offering CBE in physiotherapy. The Indian Association of Physiotherapists are planning to define competencies more suitable in the Indian context for a graduate physiotherapist. The association president has decided to form a small committee to finalize the competencies. The chairman of the committee thinks it would be highly relevant if inputs from the subject experts from India and other countries where CBE is in place are involved in defining the competencies. She has decided to adopt Delphi method, describe origination of Delphi and NGT. Olaf Helmer and Norman Dalkey from the Rand Corporation used Delphi method in 1950 for the first time. They named it as Delphi, which is an ancient city in Greece. A priestess at a temple of Apollo at Delphi was famous for her prophecies. The Delphi method similarly helps to forecast the outcome of future scenarios, predict the likelihood of an event, tendencies, and development, evaluate and make a decision about a particular topic or issue by collecting opinions, decisions from a group of experts. The generation of new information and insights that shed some light on what might be in the future makes Delphi as an explorative tool. Similar to Delphi, NGT2 obtains the opinions of experts on a given topic and brings about a group consensus. But unlike the Delphi technique, the key feature of NGT is structured face-to-face meetings. NGT was developed in the 1960s as a procedure to facilitate effective group decision-making in social psychological research such as studies of program design in the NASA aerospace field, industrial engineering problems of social service, and environmental studies by program planners, and has since been employed in a wide range of fields including education and health. Authors that developed this technique such as Randy Van and Delbeck regarded NGT as a problem-solving method based on the development of a consensual depiction of the problem. NGT provides a systematic procedure for obtaining relevant and reliable qualitative information from a group of experts. The collaborative nature of NGT increases the stakeholders' ownership of the ensuing outcomes and therefore increases the likelihood of acceptance and implementation of policies, as this approach is democratic and transparent. The group is called a nominal group because even though the participants form a group, interaction among the group members is nominal and they mostly work individually from the beginning till the end of the session. Purpose of Delphi and NGT. Both the methods have been extensively used in health education as well as health sciences. Some of the examples are as follows. 1. Education and educational research. A developing or reforming curriculum including deciding educational goals and objectives, defining, developing, and assessing competencies, identifying components of various phases, deciding assessment criteria and developing assessment tools and educational resources. The futuristic planning regarding advocacy of the institution, forecasting educational outcomes, and exploring and describing any issues related to educational elements. C for developmental research pertaining to education. Generating like research questions and refining them and clarifying or validating findings collected from various qualitative data collection methods. Healthcare Belton et al. 2019, Baukidid et al. 2011, Macmillan et al. 2016, Niederberger and Springer. In healthcare sciences, both the techniques have been used to evaluate healthcare quality, develop, select healthcare quality indicators, prescribing. indicators, prognostic criteria for disease, formulate clinical guidelines or standards, recommend action and prioritize measures, determine cost effectiveness or cost benefit analysis of healthcare. The Delphi method is also used for predicting trends in clinical practice, healthcare technology, or forecasting future of various specialties or disciplines. Steps process. Delphi method. The four key elements of this method include 1. Anonymous responses. 2. Iteration. 3. Provision of all responses in form of summary to all group members, and 4. Statistical aggregation of individuals' response. It is also known as estimate talk estimate technique. Multiple rounds of traditional Delphi minimize group bias. Before initiation of first round, this period is termed as exploration stage. The researcher serves as a group facilitator with a neutral position. She defines the research question, the objective of the study, and decides the rationale for selection of the Delphi as a method of data collection. She selects a group of experts based on the topic under consideration. They can be internal or external to the organization and may be from one field or with diverse background depending on the problem. The researcher should do a pilot survey with the developed questionnaire by administering it to a subset of selected experts. This allows her to get an idea about the possible range of viewpoints expected. At this juncture, some open-ended questions can be included to get some ideas, issues that might have been missed by the researchers. During round 1 of Delphi, after confirmation of participants, each member of the group is sent a questionnaire with instructions. The type of questions varies based on the topic of Delphi. A space is provided to enter personal opinion, experience, or previous research of experts as a supportive rationale for the response. Usually, 2-8 weeks period is given for responding. Summary report 1. The questionnaires are returned to the researcher who collates the comments and prepares a summary report which has statistics of the group response. Sometimes reasons for the responses are given. However, the experts' identities remain unknown to the group members. A copy of the summary report is sent to each expert to encourage them to state their opinions freely. The researcher prepares a second questionnaire, which is based on the analyzed responses obtained in the first round. The changes are made in questions by identifying any similarities between answers. Irrelevant content is eliminated. Round 2 of Delphi provides an opportunity to the group members to comment further. Their opinions may remain the same as in previous round or may change after going through the summary report of the first round when they get to know others' viewpoints. Summary report 2. Responses to the second questionnaire are analyzed and a second summary report of answers is prepared. Subsequent rounds of Delphi. The same sequence of events is followed in the subsequent rounds with compilation of responses and preparation of summary report, modification of questionnaires, and administration to experts to get their opinions. The questionnaire rounds can be repeated as many times as necessary to achieve a general sense of consensus. Termination of Delphi. Usually, 2-3 rounds are sufficient to get stable responses and reach general agreement. The researcher decides if another round is necessary. It should be noted that at the end of these rounds, experts' opinions may remain stable but opposing each other, or they may not be stable at all. There may be a continuous dissensus or disagreement. In that case, researchers should prevent having another round as it will not provide any outcome. Figure 1. Delphi process. Nominal group technique. Much of the success of our NG session depends upon the ability of the facilitator to remain neutral, non-judgmental, and ensure that every participant contributes to the idea generation. Step 1. Opening the session. This is done by the facilitator by expressing the purpose of organizing the NG session by stating the issue question for which many ideas are expected to be generated by the group. Step 2. Generating the ideas. Each participant in the group silently and independently generates as many ideas as possible in a short time and writes them down on the paper provided. The ideas are to be written in short phases or statements. Step 3. Round robin recording of ideas. At the end of step 2, each group member is asked to tell their ideas in a round robin fashion. Facilitator starts from one end and asks each participant to tell one best idea out of all the ideas written down by him. These ideas are written down verbatim on a flip chart that is visible to all. Then the facilitator starts the second round of writing one idea from each participant. This goes until all the ideas have been recorded on the flip chart in a serial order. Step 4. Discussing ideas. Each recorded idea is discussed for clarification. This helps to offer the idea generator's logic behind an idea. Facilitator makes sure that there is no ambiguity on any idea in the minds of the participants. Step 5. Voting to prioritize the ideas. In the next step, participants individually vote privately to prioritize the ideas based on their perception of top 5 ideas. Each of the top 5 ideas are written on 5 voting cards. The most significant idea is to be assigned a rating of 5, and the least among these 5 ideas will be rated 1 after all the participants finish the task of rating. The voting cards are collected and votes are written against the ideas on the flip chart or board. A sample is shown in table 1. When all the votes are collated, the top 5 ideas can be easily listed based on these votes. Step 6. Final list of ideas. Based on the prioritized ideas, a final list is generated, discussed, and approved by the participants. Table 1. Sample voting table. Figure 2. NGT process. Practical tips to gain optimum output from both methods. 1. Careful planning and efficient organization, whether it is Delphi or NGT. Planning the timelines in advance and managing them is crucial. Right from planning to termination, all the steps are time consuming. In addition, experts should be given adequate time to respond. Selection of experts. Experts need to be knowledgeable about the topic under consideration and hence the sample selected is purposive or convenient. Academic profile of the individual, expertise in the professional field, membership of relevant organizations, institutions, interest in participation in the study can serve as the criteria. Sometimes, in addition to experts, stakeholders who are associated with the topic are also included. Heterogeneous group wherein the experts differ with respect to sector, demographics, geographical areas is recommended as the opinions of this group will be more varied and therefore wider perspectives on the chosen topic gets covered and they can visualize an issue from different angles. This increases accuracy of predictions and decisions. 3. Number of experts, usually 20 experts are considered for Delphi and 7 to 10 for NGT. However, the literature shows that the number for the Delphi method varies from greater than 10 to greater than 1000. It also depends on the topic, e.g., if one wants to decide about technology foresight, it may be required to include experts from all over the nation, and in that case, the number of experts may run into few thousands. One must remember that more the experts, more will be opinions, and summary report preparation will take more time unless automated methods are used. Experts' task demands also increase in the subsequent rounds as they have to go through larger number of responses. So, confidentiality of data should be protected. Responses in Delphi and ideas in NGT should be kept anonymous. Responses or ideas are important, not the generator of the same. Hence, keep all responses, ideas including the voting nameless. 5. Specific for Delphi. Delphi questionnaire plays a crucial role in achieving response rate. The structure of questionnaire depends on the number and type of questions, which in turn depend on the research problem. If it is too focused, then 10 minutes 15 questions are enough. But for problems with wider scope and limited prior research, the number of topics and questions can increase built-in at REI. 2019, Tomer and Pecerino, 2016. However, general rule is not to have too lengthy questionnaire. Ideally, it should be answered in 30 minutes. These questions should be clear, unambiguous, in neutral language and arranged in logical sequence. For pilot round, the questions are open-ended, but for subsequent rounds, they are more structured and have responses either quantitative or qualitative. Quantitative responses can be ranked ordered, categorical, or numerical. Generally, Likert scale with either 5, 7, or 9 responses is preferred, with 7 responses is favored. The responses should bear descriptive anchors than having mere numbers, which will provide clarity and reduce incorrect responding. In addition, some space should be provided for experts to write their rationale for the opted responses or additional comments, questions. Questionnaire administration. Earlier, the questionnaire was sent by post to the experts, but nowadays the questionnaire is administered using internet. Questionnaire analysis. While providing summary report, rationale for selection of a response is provided. Care should be taken to remove any indicator towards the majority opinion so that the experts will think only of rationale while reconsidering their choice and will be refrained from making a decision based on the majority opinion. The important elements of analysis are 1. Stability of response, and 2. Consensus measurement. The criteria for the same must be decided in the protocol prior to the start of the study. Stable response is defined as the consistency of responses between successive rounds of a study, which can be considered as 15% change or lower in any 2 rounds. Standards for consensus, however, are not rigorously established. Researchers have used subjective criteria and descriptive statistics. Depending on the variable used, measures of central tendency and dispersion are selected as a measure of consensus. Inferential statistics is used to quantify its degree. Another consensus measure reported in the literature is the average percent of majority opinions cutoff rate. The consensus concept and strengths and weaknesses of different types of its measures has been described in the literature by Heiko von der Grachte. Qualitative data analysis is presented using Ishikawa diagram, mind mapping, or other comparable tools. Please note that both consensus and dissent-oriented analysis should be done to understand the generated data and draw meaningful conclusions. Such analysis can provide valuable trends. Dealing with participant attrition, some dropout is expected as the rounds proceed. Hence, the researcher should consider this possibility while deciding the number of experts in the panel. If there is a too low response rate as the rounds proceed, then this attrition leads to overestimation of the degree of consensus in the final results. It may make a heterogeneous group into a homogeneous one. At the final round, each stakeholder group will not be adequately represented, introducing response bias. 70%, 80% response rate is necessary at each round to maintain credibility of Delphi. Hence, the researchers need to keep the participants engaged, throughout by using motivational techniques. These may include use of incentives, direct personal communication during rounds, and by ensuring in the beginning that the experts understand purpose and relevance of Delphi using a questionnaire. However, these techniques have a flip side too. Incentives may not be considered as ethical means. Maintaining person touch increases work burden of the researchers, and question of undermining anonymity creeps in. It may happen that though experts understand the purpose and relevance in the beginning, during the rounds, they may face some uncertainties in the feedback and stop seeing the relevance. People with minority opinions are more likely to drop out, so attrition as rounds progress can lead to overestimation of the degree of consensus in the final results. 6. Specific for NGT. Infrastructure: a room with preferably a U-shaped table with a marker board or a flip chart at the open end of the U table. Marker pens, paper and pens for each participant, index cards for voting. A trained and experienced facilitator who will clarify the participants' role and importance of their contribution along with the objectives of the session. The facilitator has to maintain the time, record the ideas verbatim, direct the discussion for clarification of the ideas, and record the votes to generate the final prioritized list of ideas or solutions. The facilitator should be neutral and ensure that each participant's ideas are recorded without any bias. Do not criticize any idea. The main objective of NGT is to obtain a large number of ideas. As the ideas are being presented by each participant in step 3, a few may sound out of context or ridiculous. No one should object to or laugh at it. This will prevent free flow of ideas from rest of the participants. This out-of-the-box idea may lead to contribution of better ideas. No idea is bad unless it is voted out. Participants should not evaluate others' ideas. One can express their preference during voting. If an idea is not good, it is likely to get no least votes and will be automatically voted out. Generate as many ideas as possible in step 1. As stated by Abdullah and Islam, the larger the number of ideas produced, the greater is the probability of achieving an effective solution for an issue. Hitchhiking of ideas should be considered if two ideas can be combined or modified to generate a new, better idea. Advantages and limitations of consensus methods. It is well reported by Norman P. Gould that decision making is often difficult and frustrating in the academic world. This is particularly true if a decision requires the approval and cooperation of a collective group such as the faculty, department heads, deans, and so forth. Unfortunately, agreement usually is hindered by great divergences of opinion, strong allegiances, and the varying vested interests that frequently characterize these groups. This problem is overcome to the most extent by consensus methods as discussed above. They make use of collective knowledge of professionals, which is considered as tacit knowledge. They have advantages over both focus group and survey. The researchers require short period of training, though with experience the quality of process improves. These methods are participant-controlled methods and success depends on the quality of participants. However, a dominant participant cannot influence the result as anonymity of decisions is maintained. The results are available relatively soon but are not biased by quick decisions. Relatively less organizing ability is required than for a survey. A single series of consensus groups may achieve the same what several pilots of survey achieve for sharpening the questions to be included in exploratory surveys that cover topics new to the researcher. Relatively low cost is required for using the technique and analyzing the results. However, it may happen that the participants vote for what is perceived as majority. They may get a pressurized feeling to agree. It may also happen when they are not very knowledgeable about the topic or do not feel strongly about it to put forth their opinion. It may be an influence of culture wherein social cohesion is regarded highly than individual opinion, e.g., some Asian countries. Nevertheless, there are ways to alleviate these problems. These methods are also criticized for lacunae in the scientific rigor in conducting and reporting. The weaknesses in methodology can be attributed to questionnaire framing, the selection criteria used for participants, a priori definitions of number of rounds, level of anonymity, participant attrition and consensus, and the feedback given after the round. Moreover, there are a lot of variations introduced in the methodology by individual researchers, so there is a poor standardization. Practical guidance for using and reporting Delphi procedures has been provided in a systematic review by Baukedid at ALI 2011. For the advantages and limitations of individual methods, please refer to Choice between Delphi and NGT. Though the intent and goals are similar, each approach has its supporters and critics. The choice between these two techniques depends on various factors viz. The research question, the perception of consensus required, the associated feasibility and availability of time as listed in Table -2. Table 2 Factors governing choice between Delphi and NGT. Factors Purpose Delphi conducted for addressing high stakes or significant issues which require a thorough examination of options. Time to research and respond and leveraging of expertise, e.g., developing guidelines or policies wherein wider and more reflective responses are needed from larger number of experts. NGT conducted for small to medium-sized decisions which require some group discussion, e.g., problem identification, solution generation, exploring views of consumers and stakeholders. As idea generation is integral to NGT for exploring ideas in relation to a problem or question and arrive at less consequential decisions. It also provides support to allow identification of personal problems and self-disclosure. Problem can be done with wide range of problems, e.g., government planning, institutional, business and industry predictions, volunteer group decisions. Needs a small group and better for more narrow problems, e.g., curriculum implementation strategies of the institution. Investigators training and responsibility can be undertaken with short training, but responsibilities are far greater, more procedural work involved in gathering, evaluating, and repeating the rounds. Need a trained, experienced investigator to carry out technique in disciplined manner to allow representation of all ideas and to reach a decision accepted by all the participants, but responsibilities are less demanding. Participant experts. When opinion of multiple stakeholders who are geographically dispersed is required. When limited experts are required. Flexibility. More flexible as based on responses to questionnaires which are accessible to participants regardless of geographical location, time, etc. Less flexible and needs face-to-face meeting, which limits participant numbers and cites as it is difficult to find suitable time to all if widely dispersed. Logistics. No requirements for travel, space, meeting scheduling. Need to schedule meetings, arrange for travel of participants, space and infrastructure for meeting, ease of administration. Yes, no time taken for results. It involves multiple rounds, weeks apart, so weeks or months to get results. Single session, so prompt results, which can then be refined through additional meetings as necessary. Participant anonymity, required, not required. Motivation of experts. Experts need to be highly motivated throughout, and so the investigator has to engage them. Medium motivation of experts is all right to complete the process. Perception of consensus. Analysis of data is more complex. Analysis of both stability and level of agreement as descriptive and inferential statistics. Measurement of descent should also be presented, such as scatter plots, subgroup analysis, or impact analysis, which provides understanding of data in toto. Analysis of data is relatively easy. Mainly the descriptive statistics is used, but it can be analyzed quantitatively by ranking the ideas. Summarize. Commonly employed consensus group methods such as Delphi and NGT are a systematic means to measure and develop consensus on a topic. These methods are suitable when empirical evidence is insufficient, inconsistent, or not present. Consensus methods are especially useful in medical education research, where there are still many areas of studies where there is not much authentic literature to make evidence-based decisions. The Delphi method involves 6 stages. Participants never meet or interact directly. It is possible to include a large number of experts who are spread around the world. It takes time to arrive at consensus depending on the number of rounds conducted. NGT is a face-to-face interactive method. Number of participants are limited to 5 minutes 12. It involves minimal discussion among the participants. Advantage of NGT lies in possibility of clarification and debate if consensus is not arrived at initially. Disadvantage being the consensus is obtained from only a small number of participants. Evaluate. We hope you have understood the similarities and differences in both the methods. Take a minute on the key learning from this chapter. Now try to apply it for the following scenario. Scenario 2. You wish to develop competencies for a course in medical education research and publication along with entrustable professional activities so as to ensure that the stated competencies are achieved by the participants of the course. Select appropriate method as for deciding the competencies and the EPAS so that the various stakeholders can agree upon them. It is expected that the formulated competencies are rationally based, feasible, measurable, and observable. Sequence the EPAS in terms of increasing difficulty or sophistication. Justify your selection of method S and outline the process which you wish to follow. Go ahead. Apart from Delphi and NGT, a third method, Rand Appropriateness Method, has been developed by the Rand Corporation and the David Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA, which is a hybrid of the Delphi and NGT methods. In this method, the experts meet between the rounds face to face. Interested readers can read an article by Davies et al. This negates the principle of anonymity, but the personal interaction has shown to exert positive influence in some studies. It is preferable that such face-to-face meeting is held at the end of last round to clear misinterpretations, if any, or when consensus has not been achieved. Another variation is descent-oriented Delphi studies. They are conducted for exploring systematically viewpoints of heterogeneous groups regarding various aspects of a specific policy. It is termed as policy Delphi. Such Delphi can be incorporated in scenario planning involving multiple stakeholders to surface structured conflict and to judge the future scope using this multimodality approach. Recently, online survey systems or online web-based tools, which are either custom-made or those available commercially like ROS, eDelphi, GFIS, Surveillet are used. Automatic updates are possible as soon as an entry is made by the expert and immediate feedback is provided with respect to the median and justification, which allows more flexibility and multiple chances to the experts to modify the response. This real-time update limits the Delphi to only single rounds. Thus, one may come across a lot of variations in implementation of the Delphi or NGT or in reporting them. It is essential for any researcher to carefully examine these varied designs and confirm that the basic principles of Delphi or NGT are not overruled by modifying them. Whenever such modifications are done, the details of the modification should be detailed in the publication.